now call the Riverton Finance Committee to order. The chair would entertain a motion for the consideration of claims.
Your Honor, I would move that we pay claims in the amount of $534,711.70. The Elon credit card in the amount of $3,274.72. Payroll and liabilities in the amount of $324,281.27 for a total of $862,267.69.
Second.
I have a motion and second to accept the consideration of claims as presented. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Is there any further discussion? Anything?
We have nothing, Your Honor.
Okay. Seeing nothing else, the committee will adjourn at 6:45. I didn't miss anything.
I now call the August 18, 2020 regular meeting of the Riverton City Council to order at 7 p.m. Councilman Hancock will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, and Councilman Bailey will give us the invocation.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Our dearest Heavenly Father, thank you for this beautiful day that we've had. Thank you for the ability that we have to live in this wonderful city, in this wonderful state, in this wonderful country, where we have the freedom to go out and have free elections and elect the leaders of our country, state, and city government. Thank you for all the blessings that you poured out upon us. Please bless us in all that we do here tonight. Let us have the judgment we need to do what's best for the citizens of Riverton. Please bless that you will keep everyone safe, especially our law enforcement officers and our military that serve every day to keep us safe. We ask you to please be with us tonight, and we ask these things in the name of your beloved Son, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. Would the city clerk please conduct roll call?
Yes, Your Honor. Councilman Tim Hancock.
Here.
Councilman Mike Bailey.
Here.
Councilwoman Rebecca Schatza.
Here.
Councilman Kyle Larson.
Here.
Councilman Corey Rhoda.
Here.
Mayor Richard Gard.
Here. The chair would entertain a motion to excuse Carla Borders from tonight's meeting. She is over in Ethody being an election judge.
So moved.
Awfully
Second.
kind. We have a motion by Councilman Hancock and a second by Councilwoman Schatza. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. Motion passes. I declare a quorum is present. The chair would entertain a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
So moved.
Second.
A motion by Councilwoman Schatza and a second by Councilman Bailey. Council discussion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. Motion passes. Anyone in the audience wishing to address the council regarding an item that is scheduled for a public hearing will be given the opportunity to speak during the public hearing. Anyone wishing to address the council on any other item may speak now. I would ask those individuals who wish to speak to the council at this time to approach the podium and identify yourself for the record.
Good evening, Your Honor and Council. My name is Kathy Klein. I'm the Business and Community Liaison for the Wind River, not Visitors Council, Wind River Job Corps. And tonight it is my honor to introduce you to our new contractor at the Job Corps, Dr. Jenny Wild.
Jennifer, how are you tonight?
Thank you, Kathy, and thank you, Council. Thank you, Your Honor. I'd also like to introduce Dr. Pinnick, my colleague. And I just want to take a few minutes, because I know my time is limited, to first of all, thank you. Thank you for the warm hospitality the city has shown us since our arrival. I've lived a lot of places, but rarely have we seen such hospitality. Today we're at the Rotary Club, and it was just a lovely experience. It's so warm and welcoming, and I just wanted to say that up front. I'm from Leesburg, Virginia, so we also, I know it's a little bit on the southern side, so we have hospitality, but I was quite enthralled with how warm everyone has been to API, our company, and the fact that we are partnering with Management and Training Corporation, the current operator, to now operate the Wind River Center. The Department of Labor has declared that it should be a small business set-aside, and we are a certified women-owned business, and we partner with MTC on 2 other centers across the United States. The Westover Job Corps Center in Chicopee, Massachusetts, and the Shriver Job Corps Center in Devens, Massachusetts. So we are very good partners, and we're thrilled to be here in Riverton with the Wind River Center. I wanted to take a few minutes just and tell you a little bit about our company. We have a vision, as most companies do, and ours is to help create a world where people respect themselves, respect others, respect their community, and strive for excellence. We chose that because it was simple, and if we do those things, it's going to make a better world. We also have a mission, and our mission helps us to figure out what we do, who do we do it for, and how do we do it. And our mission is to provide new ways of thinking to help create new ways of doing for our employees, clients, and communities. And we're guided in our work, because our name is Alternate Perspectives, Inc., by A, accountability, P, performance, and I, integrity. So I wanted you to know that that's a little bit about our heart, because I don't think you can run a company or an organization or a city without having that heart in mind as well. I also just want to share briefly the values that we're going to ask our staff to live by in helping those students at the Wind River Job Corps Center, and that is, if you do the right thing, your life gets better. To respect is key, as you've just heard from our vision, and we are guides, mentors, and teachers. And when we achieve a normative culture, when we can have everybody on that center, staff and student, live by those norms, then we're going to be in a very better place. With that, I don't want to take any more of your time. I could go on, but I do appreciate the opportunity to meet you in person. I will be around. Lynn will be around. If you have any questions, we've left some of our cards here, has our cell phone numbers on it, so you can call at any time. I appreciate it, and thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you, Jennifer. Makes me want to enroll.
And don't forget the birthday party on the 7th.
Would the city, excuse me.
Excuse me, sir. Martin Canan. Sir, myself and Mrs. Pat Lawson couldn't be here tonight, but we both wanted to thank you and the city administrator and the rest of the city staff in a bit more of a public setting for the support we got for the rededication of the Griffin Memorial a couple of weeks ago. I know we had a chance to thank you in private, but we wanted to do it a little bit more where we could thank the city staff. We know that was a lot more people involved than just the couple that we saw that Saturday. I know the family appreciated you opening the building for them and letting them have a kind of a family reunion in here, the tables and chairs. So I know they appreciated it, and I certainly know that the veterans appreciated it. And just wanted to say thanks again to everybody that helped us out.
Martin, thank you. Appreciate the opportunity. It was a good activity.
Thank you, sir.
Would the city clerk please read the consent agenda by item only?
Yes, Your Honor. Approval of the minutes, August 4th, 2020, regular council meeting. Approval of the minutes, August 18th, 2020, finance committee meeting. Approval of the finance committee recommendations for August 18th, 2020. Approval of the municipal court report for the month of July 2020, and an open container permit application for the Riverton Lions Club for a club picnic at Sunset Park on August 31st, 2020, from 5 p.m. to 8 p.m.
Thank you. Are there any other items requiring further discussion?
Your Honor?
Yes.
No, wrong part. Nothing yet.
Go ahead.
Sorry. This is it?
Did you?
Yeah. The Finance Committee did meet tonight, Your Honor, and they approved the consideration of claims to be paid in the amount of to be paid in the amount of $534,711.70, the ELAND credit in the amount of $3,274.72, payroll and liabilities in the amount of $324,281.27, for a grand total of $862,267.69.
Thank you. The chair would entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda items.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Councilwoman Schatza and second by Councilman Bailey. Any further discussion? Councilman Bailey.
Your Honor, I'll abstain from the Bailey Enterprises items on the Finance Committee report.
Thank you. Anybody else? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. Motion passes. Animal Control Officer's introduction, Shannon Sanderson. Chief, would you give us a report, please?
Your Honor, thank you very much. This is my favorite part of my job, in case you guys didn't know that. I would love to introduce our new Animal Control Officer, Shannon Sanderson. Shannon has been working for us for about 2 months as Animal Control Officer. Becky Weber had retired, and so Shannon came in, rode with her on her own time a couple times, and she's been at work ever since, so she's doing a fantastic job. Her husband, Bart, is here. She has 2 kids, and they could not be here, so she's from DuBois, Wyoming, and she's a really good friend of mine. They live out by us, and we spend a lot of time with them doing all kinds of stuff. So anyway, I just want to introduce Shannon to you guys, and she's done a fantastic job so far. So I just wanted to introduce her, and
Thank you.
yep.
Welcome.
Thank you. You know, I think about the first week that Shannon was on the job, she called me and scheduled an appointment with me and came into the office and got me straightened out. I really do appreciate it. So we were working on some gophers, and so we really do appreciate the work that you do.
Well, I hope to make it a better place for animals and people.
Fantastic. We appreciate that. Thank
Your
you.
Honor,
Yes.
also had citizens approach me and tell me how wonderful you are and how good you are to work with as well. So for only being here for 2 months, that's a pretty big deal, I think. Yep.
I think we got a good one. Consideration of ordinance number 20-004 on third and final reading, the Riverton Municipal Code 5.04.070 and 5.04.100, open container and malt beverage permit amendment. Would the city clerk please read ordinance number 20-004 by title only?
Yes, Your Honor. Proposed ordinance number 20-004 on third and final reading, an ordinance amending Title V Business Licenses and Regulations, Chapter 5.04 Alcoholic Beverages, to revise Section 5.04.070 Open Containers of Alcoholic Beverages on City Property by Permit Only, and Section 5.04.100 Permit for Retail Sales at Picnics, Bazaars, Fairs, etc., of the Riverton Municipal Code, and repealing all ordinances or parts of ordinances in conflict therewith and providing for an effective date.
Thank you. The chair would entertain a motion to adopt ordinance number 20-004 on third reading.
So moved.
Second?
Councilwoman Schatz has the motion and Councilman Rhoda has the second. Any further discussion? Would the city clerk please conduct a roll call?
Yes, Your Honor. Councilman Tim Hancock.
Yes.
Councilman Mike Bailey.
Aye.
Councilwoman Rebecca Schatze.
Aye.
Councilman Kyle Larson.
Aye.
Councilman Corey Rhoda.
Aye.
Mayor Richard Gard.
Aye. Motion passes. Consideration for ordinance number 20-005, second reading, Riverton Municipal Code, Chapter 17, Commercial Highway CH zoning. Would the city clerk please read the ordinance number 20-005 by title only?
Yes, Your Honor. Proposed ordinance number 20-005 on second reading, an ordinance amending Title 17 zoning to revise Chapter 17.64 Commercial District CH, Section 17.64.030 General Requirements of the Riverton Municipal Code, and repealing all ordinances or parts of ordinances in conflict therewith and providing for an effective date.
Thank you. The chair would entertain a motion to adopt ordinance number 20-005 on second reading.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion by Councilwoman Schatz and a second by Councilman Hancock. Further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. Motion passes. Ordinance number ordinance number 20006, second reading, Riverton Municipal Code, Chapter 16 subdivisions. Would the city clerk please read ordinance number 20-006 by title only?
Yes, Your Honor. Proposed ordinance number 20-006 on second reading, an ordinance amending Title 16 subdivisions, Chapter 16.20 improvements, Section 16.20.030 required prior to issuance of certificate of occupancy, subsection C of the Riverton Municipal Code, and repealing all ordinances or parts of ordinances in conflict therewith and providing for an effective date.
Thank you. The chair would entertain a motion to adopt ordinance number 20-006 on second reading.
So moved.
Second.
Councilwoman Schatz has a motion and Councilman Bailey has a second. Further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay.
Nay.
Motion passes. Purchase approval of a half-ton pickup truck. Fleet supervisor's report, please.
Your Honor, members of the council, Brian Eggleston, your fleet and sanitation supervisor. City council, as you recall, approved a bid in early July of this year for the purchase of 2 half-ton pickups. Following that bid, we were authorized to move forward with the purchase of one of those vehicles through the sanitation budget. We're now coming back to the council to get approval to order the second pickup for the Parks Department. We budgeted $60,000 total, 30 out of sanitation and 30 out of the general fund. And we request approval to move forward on the project. Piggyback, piggyback, piggyback.
It's really trying to get those numbers up on that.
Winning.
bet, huh? You must have had the high number, huh?
No, he didn't pay enough.
Appreciate that. Thank you very much. The chair would entertain a motion to approve the purchase of a 2021 Chevy half-ton pickup in the amount of $28,554 from Fremont Chevy Buick GMC.
So moved.
Second.
Councilman Rhoda has the motion. Councilwoman Schatz has the second. Further discussion? Mike?
Mr. Mayor and Brian, and excuse me if we've already talked about this, but on the bid that was lower that did not meet the specification, what was it that they didn't meet? I guess I'm just curious.
Part of the problem was there was an addendum on the bid extending the purchase timeline, and that was not acknowledged. What they were bidding was a 2020 model year instead of a 2021, and unless they acknowledged that addendum, we had no guarantee that they'd be able to deliver that vehicle in the future. So that was the primary difference.
Okay.
Thank you. Any other discussion?
I don't know if people know this, but in the background, there's bets being made about how many times Mr. Eggleston is going to say piggyback. So in case you're wondering why he said that 3 times, that's why, just to give you a little bit of a behind-the-curtain look at city staff. So anyway, that's all. Thank you, sir.
No, thank you.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. Motion passes. Resolution number 1420, completion of construction and extension for 422 East Main Street. Community Developers Report, please.
Thank you, Your Honor. Brown Sugar, Inc. Purchased the property at 422 East Main Street from the city of Riverton in February of 2019. As a condition of that sale, an 18-month construction schedule was allowed for, which at the time appeared to be plenty of time to finish construction of the new commercial structure. However, unexpected and unforeseen events, most notably that associated with the COVID-19 pandemic, substantially delayed the project, and it was obviously out of the control of the purchaser. Design of the new structure is still underway, and they expect to begin work on the foundation in late fall of this year. So they are progressing forward. At this time, staff recommends granting a one-time 18-month extension for the construction of a new commercial structure on lots 21 through 24, Block 11 of the original town of Riverton. And I do believe a representative for Brown Sugar Inc. is in the audience. Nope, never mind. Sorry. I would be happy to answer any questions that I might be able to at this time. Thank you.
Thank you, Eric. Would the city clerk please read resolution number 1420 by title only?
Yes, Your Honor. Resolution number 1420, a resolution of the governing body of the City of Riverton granting a time extension for completion of construction of a commercial building on lots 21 through 24, Block 11, original town of Riverton, also known as 422 East Main Street.
Thank you. The chair would entertain a motion to approve resolution number 1420.
So moved.
Second?
Councilman Bailey has the motion. Councilman Rhoda has the second. Further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. Motion passes. Resolution number 1421, Airport Board recommendation for the Riverton Regional Airport name change. Public Works Director's report, please.
Thank you, Your Honor. Municipal code sets up an airport board to act as an advisory board to you as city council members. Under their charge is to consider improvements to Riverton Regional Airport, aviation matters, master planning, and any other matter referred to them by you, the governing body. As part of this charge, the airport board has explored on multiple occasions the possibility of renaming Riverton Regional Airport. The purpose of this exploration is to better market the airport and also represent the impact that the airport has on the region of central Wyoming and Fremont County. In your packet, I included several excerpts of minutes of recent discussions, and just as a point of information, discussions on this matter predated those that I included. I just grabbed the ones that were most recent for your benefit. And I'll also mention that we do have two members of the airport board here in the audience tonight. We have Chairman Dean Peranto and Mr. Bob Labita as well, who have served faithfully for many years on that board. I won't repeat everything in the minutes, but for those in the audience, in September of 2017, the airport board considered very seriously the option of renaming Riverton Regional Airport. They did this over the course of 4 meetings and ultimately had a public meeting at the airport board and a work session to consider the topic. In October of 2017, several members of the community came and attended that public meeting to discuss the positives and negatives of renaming Riverton Regional Airport. From that discussion, several names were considered. One was Wind River Regional Airport, Yellowstone Highway Regional Airport, and then Central Wyoming Regional Airport. In a November work session of the board, it was decided that at the time, it would not be a priority to rename the airport. The discussion came up again just this year as the marketing firm of FAST came and presented to the airport board. Herman Global has been looking at the name of Riverton Regional for some time and the value of renaming the airport to better maximize the marketing potential and brand awareness of the airport. That was brought up in May and also June of 2020. In June of 2020, Adam Bridgeford of Herman Global reported that a name change for Riverton Regional will help with search engine optimization and the regionalization of the airport. In July, most recently, the airport board had further discussion on this topic and made a motion to bring 3 options to you as a council to consider and potentially make a vote on. This was made through a motion where Central Wyoming Regional Airport Central Wyoming Airport, and Wyoming Regional Airport would be proposed to you as names for consideration for Riverton Regional Airport. As points of discussion, and as you read in your packet, search engine optimization is a valuable tool nowadays to not only inform consumers and people of, or general members of the public, but also for those who are shopping for certain products. Search engine optimization, briefly stated, is the process of maximizing the number of visitors to a particular website by ensuring that it appears high on a list of results when a key word is typed into a search engine. It's reported that Wyoming Airports is searched 8,100 times per month. And I received an updated number today from Herman Global, and they said over 7,000 a month still. So we're noticing that that term, Wyoming Airports, is searched very heavily, and we would like to tie into that as an airport. Another thing to consider is the role that that Riverton Regional Airport plays in Fremont County and the central region of Wyoming. In your packet, I included a pie chart showing where our in-state bookings come from. This is a bit of an update. Previously, Lander had outbooked Riverton, and now it's shifted a little bit where 47% of bookings made in Wyoming are from the Riverton zip code, and 38% are from Lander. The rest, as you can see, are spread through the county and in other areas of the state. But the high majority are those two centers. Clearly, Riverton Regional Airport represents a regional interest in Fremont County in the central area of Wyoming. In regard to the administration of a name change, staff has contacted the Airport District Office of the Federal Aviation Administration. They say that for them to begin the process of changing the name, all they would need is a resolution or minute action from the governing body. We would then work on updating publications, charts, listings, etc. That could take anywhere from 1.5 to 2 years. However, if we wanted to move forward with the name change before those back-end administrative functions are completed, we could do so and accomplish that through a NOTAM, a notice to airmen, and move forward in a more timely fashion. Either would be fine, and we'd take your direction on that. Costs associated with a name change are relatively insignificant, the largest of which is just updating letterhead, signs, and anything else that has the Riverton Regional name. The most costly item, as you noticed, is the letters or the sign that are on the face of the terminal building. Those letters are about 15.5 inches tall, and in working with our engineering firm, we estimate that it'll be about $100 a letter to replace them. Therefore, I put in a rough estimate to replace those at $3,500. For any other changes, as far as the branding we have on our pickup trucks, any signs that we have leading to the airport, letterhead, etc., puts a budget to change the name at $5,000 to $7,000. So again, it's relatively insignificant in the grand scheme of things. Staff would also need to perform a number of administrative functions with the name change. This includes updating all of our manuals and certifications that are required by our 138 operating certificate with the FAA, and then updating any databases outside of those managed by the FAA so that the new name or the potential new name is updated on those searches. As a point of information, 2 other airports have recently renamed in the state of Wyoming in January of 2018. Rock Springs Sweetwater County Airport changed to Southwest Wyoming Regional Airport, and in January 2020, Gillette Campbell County Airport changed its name to the Northeast Wyoming Regional Airport. In talking to the airport managers for these airports, one of the main reasons why they changed the name was for the 2 reasons we've already covered. 1, represent the regional interest of the airports, and 2, to maximize the searchability from a digital component for those airports. Having Wyoming in those names is something that they prioritized. The City Council has several options to consider. You can adopt the resolution as presented, which proposes Central Wyoming Regional Airport. You could keep the name Riverton Regional Airport by not adopting the resolution, and even direct staff to work with digital marketing firms to maximize SEO marketing. You could amend the resolution before you to replace Wyoming Regional Airport with either Central Wyoming Airport, Wyoming Regional Airport. You could also amend the resolution to propose another name that you would like outside of the three that have been proposed to you by the airport board. You could also take no action. From a budgeting standpoint, we do have marketing funds in our air service fund. Many of those funds are grant supported and reimbursement supported. We also have line items that could help with the cost in our airport operations budget as referenced there. We would have to probably split some of those costs because those line items are already claimed for other purposes. But we do have options within the current budget to make the change if it was your direction. With that, I will close my remarks and yield the floor to you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Kyle. Would the city clerk please read ordinance number 1421 by title only?
Yes, Your Honor. Resolution number 1421, a resolution of the governing body of the City of Riverton to change the name of Riverton Regional Airport to Central Wyoming Regional Airport.
Thank you. The chair would entertain a motion to approve resolution number 1421.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion by Councilman Larson and a second by Councilman Rhoda. Further discussion?
Your Honor,
Yes, Tim.
I think that the idea of Central Wyoming, I think is where we're at right now. Central Wyoming Regional Airport, is that?
Yes.
Great.
I just saw the three of them and I couldn't remember which one was which one was which. I think it's a great idea. I think it makes a lot of sense. I think the only issue that I have is that we're relying on citizen feedback from 3 years ago. That's the only issue I have. I mean, if this were something that were an ordinance, for example, we'd have to have 3 readings. We're going to have plenty of time for people to come in and say what they think about it. I like to have the idea that the airport doesn't just, belong to the city council as an organization, but belongs to the city. On the other hand, it should be a regional thing, and that's what we've been talking about, trying to encourage that. So I like the idea of the name change. I just feel like it's quick to do it just in a resolution and we're done like that. I mean, of course, this is advertised, but the first time it gets advertised, I suppose, is Friday. And then here we are on Tuesday and we're going to just change the name of the airport. I don't know. I just feel like we don't get a lot of feedback. Although we did get some early on, it was kind of mixed.
Kyle?
I understand what Councilman is saying, but I think the die has already been cast by Gillette and Rock Springs. And we don't sell tickets by name. We sell it by location and where we're going and access. And that's what the airport is there for, is to get people here to come to Riverton. The easier we put it, the better off we are. Now, whether we have 10,000 people that understand that or not doesn't make a real big difference. The difference is we get the most bang for our buck and we get seats, we get people in seats. And I understand what you're saying, that we should have a general debate, but debate what? The right of it, the wrong of it, the marketing of it? We don't know. We pay people to do the marketing, and that's what they've suggested. And we can turn our backs on the marketing, but that's not very smart. So I understand what you're saying. I don't agree with what you're saying. And those are the reasons. Thank you.
Councilman Bailey?
Again, and I think along with what Tim and Kyle have said, I really think the name change really is for the people that would be searching for a reason to come here. So the people that are flying into Wyoming to go to Yellowstone, to go to the Wind River country hiking, all of those kind of things. The people in Fremont County know where the airport is, and it doesn't really matter what we call it for them, I don't think. It's really a marketing thing to get people to fly here as opposed to Southwest Wyoming Regional, because when they search on the internet for Wyoming Airport, our name doesn't have Wyoming in it because it says Riverton Regional Airport,
doesn't
not
come up at all.
Wyoming. Right, and so I think this is a outward-looking in marketing type of scenario, and I think it's a good idea. And I sort of in jest at the airport board meetings said we ought to just go big and call it Wyoming Regional and not even worry about that. And fiscally, it saves $700 on letters.
Good idea. Rebecca?
Everything that was said is what I was about to say anyhow.
Mr. Pronto, I see your hand up. Would you like to tell us something?
Good evening, thank you guys for having me. My name's Dean Toronto, for those who don't know me. I'm the chairman of the airport board, but one thing I wanted to mention at Tim's point is that this has been discussed, and we specifically wanted to have it discussed over multiple airport meetings for that very reason. We didn't want to make a recommendation to the city council to change the name arbitrarily without giving people an opportunity to have some input or some say. So we actually postponed it, I think it was over 3 different months, so they were advertised. And as Kyle pointed out, this comes on the heel, I think we first started talking about the airport name change back in 2013 originally, and then again in 2015, and then again in 2017. And at the time, I was more opposed to it than for it. A lot of the reasoning behind it at the time, we still had Great Lakes. And at the time, I was more opposed to it because it's a Riverton-funded airport. We didn't have the benefit of Fremont County or Lander or Du Bois or anybody else helping with the funding of the airport. In recent years, with the changes in our air carriers, Lander stepped up. We've seen money from Fremont County and other entities. So it makes sense now that we kind of share that a little bit and maybe get rid of that Riverton name that I kind of am beholden to and make it a little bit more regional. And I agree with Councilman Bailey that go big, go bold, call it Wyoming Regional. You can get to anywhere from right here is a great name. Might be a little too bold. Like Casper may complain, but so we thought we'd kind of knock it back a notch and make the recommendation of Central Wyoming, because that is truly who we are. We're not Northeast, we're not Northwest, we're not South Central, whatever. We are just Central Wyoming. And I think a big piece of that was including the name Wyoming in the name. So Central Wyoming kind of percolated to the top of the discussion, with Wyoming Regional kind of being at the bottom, but secretly we still all like that one at the very top. So I just wanted to provide a little bit of background in the discussion, and if I can answer any questions, I'm happy to.
Thanks, Dean. Mike?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Pronto, would you mind explaining to them that we're not going to be changing the identifier and what would be involved in that?
Certainly.
We haven't talked about it.
Every airport has a 3-letter designator. For instance, Lander's LND, Riverton is RIW. Du Bois is weird, it's a number, it's like U47. But Casper is CPR. So every airport throughout the world has a 3-letter designator, and in most cases it's preceded by the letter K. And so Riverton technically, in all the documentation, all the manuals, airman information manuals and so forth, we've always been known as RIW. That 3-letter designator will not change. That's kind of tied to our airport. For instance, Broomfield Airport, forever they were Jeffco. So their 3-letter designator is still JFC. And even though they're Broomfield now, it's still JFC. So Riverton will maintain the RIW 3-letter designator, but the name can change to Mickey Mouse Regional. It really doesn't matter. The RIW will stay the same. I'm not condoning Mickey Mouse. I'm saying the name itself doesn't matter. And technically, I think we've actually would apply to change the name as opposed to like a DBA. Is that correct? Because originally the airport board had discussed keeping Riverton Regional as kind of the main name, but doing business as a different name. And it seems like that might not be, I hadn't heard specifically on that.
Your Honor, and I apologize, this is good information to follow up with Chairman Peranto on. Since the city of Riverton is actually the legal entity for the airport, there's no need to do a DBA because Riverton Regional is not the legal name on any of our contracts because it's all with the city of Riverton. And so that's why we just went with changing the name rather than a DBA because there's really no need to have a trade name in that instance.
Perfect. Learned something new. Thank you. So, yeah, the three-letter designator would stay the same, but the name would change. So if you guys really like Wyoming Regional, we're all on board. Thank you.
Thanks, Dean. We appreciate it. You know, years ago, those of us that are a little bit aged will remember that a Frontier flight landed in Buffalo instead of Sheridan. And when I was reading the report, I thought, oh, this could help, actually, if east, west, and south, and maybe we could get them in the right spot. And they had to take the seats out of that plane to get it off the runway out of Buffalo. And so strange things happen, and it's interesting to see that time changes. I had a conversation with Representative Lloyd Larson a year or so ago about changing the name, and he didn't think it was a good idea. Riverton was just fine and stay with that. And as we go through the county, we're trying to do our very best to try to lift all boats and make this work. And so I think it's a good change. I think it's a good suggestion. A lot of thought's been put into it over the years, not just a quick identifier to move on. So I think a lot of people have been asked that question, and I think it makes sense to listen to the marketing people. Some of us, we probably could have just saved our money and asked Rebecca what to name it, because she's on there and knows what to do. But I think it's good information, and I think that's how things are searched anymore. And 8,100 hits is a huge number. Along with that, I got the report, we have boarded 433 passengers halfway through the month on the 15th, which if that pace stays, we will match our January number, February number. So pretty amazing what the FAST group, what the airport board has done for us, has stayed in the middle of the fight and tried every way they can think of to enlarge the usage of that airport. And Dean, the board, we totally appreciate the work you guys put in. That if you need more information, anything we can do, let us know. I know that there's a lot of dedicated people that work that. So thank you very much. Any other discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say nay. Motion passes. Council committee reports, council roundtable. Corey, could you start us off?
Sure thing, Mayor. So just a couple things. I don't have a whole bunch. The Community Engagement Committee is going to be meeting tomorrow. I believe right now we're discussing volunteers to help with the Fall Festival on the 26th. We did have our neighborhood watch meeting, but unfortunately we only had one citizen show up to that. So I think for the time, we're going to try to support them in what they have right now, but until there's more of a desire and we can get some more people involved, I think it's just kind of sitting on the back burner. Aside from that, I just wanted to remind everybody the Fall Festival on September 26th. I'll let Becca, I don't know if she's doing the rendezvous games the same day, but that is actually all that I have, Mayor. So,
thank you, appreciate it. Kyle.
Your Honor, Tim and I attended the Solutions Committee meeting, and it appears that the anger or aggressiveness or correction of the rails to trails has dissipated. And so it was not well attended. The most informative thing, I think, Tim will talk about is the alcohol people or the license holders of the alcohol in Riverton bought into a lot of ideas and feel a little bit more or a little less pressure from the city on their regulating people that drink too much. But that's about all I have to say about that. Tim will tell us more about that.
Thank you. Rebecca?
Just what Corey had mentioned, that we have our community engagement committee tomorrow at 6 p.m. here at City Hall. Mostly planning volunteers for different events that are happening in the city, including the Fall Festival and the Rendezvous Games are both happening on September 26th. So that's all I have, Your Honor.
Thank you. Mike?
Again, I had the pleasure of attending the Force Committee meeting. And again, we're sort of wrapping up the projects for this year. And they're going to go right into sort of looking at the different projects that we will be able to possibly get done next year. Again, it's after 7 o'clock, so it's, everybody's done voting, but I guess, again, they've done a great job, I think, again, this year in getting projects going, getting them bid early so that we could be as economical as we can in getting those projects done. Again, we've done a lot of great projects in the city of Riverton. They're working on Sunset, of course, it's still in process. Again, they're gonna try to get that all paved here, I think, by what, next week, Kyle, if I remember right?
Your Honor, Councilman, we're going to try and get the section of Sunset paved by this weekend so that it's open for school Monday. We may have to require some Saturday and Sunday paving to have that happen, but we're going to shoot for it.
So, again, so that there'll be access to Aspen School for the buses. Again, I was walking down in that area, and they're very close to getting done, and again, some much-needed repairs to that street. Hill Street is going to get postponed. They came up with a few other options that were unforeseen, and so it was going to push the timeline to where Hill Street might not have got done before the weather. And so basically, they pushed that off till next spring. But again, we have it already funded and all of that, so it'll be good. But I guess the main thing I'd like the citizens to know is this is the time of year that we start looking at the different projects that we would want to look at doing next year. And so the committee goes through a pretty arduous process of analyzing the different road reports that we have on the conditions of the streets. I'm getting input from the public on what things they think needs done. And again, they will come up with some projects that we can start the engineering on, have that engineering ready by early next year so that we can bid it out when the contractors are still hungry and not too busy, and we get better deals that way. So again, they're going to start that process, so within the next couple of months, we'll be working forward on that. So again, I got to run around and visit a lot of citizens in the city over the last few days and weeks, and again, I think everybody's pretty happy overall, and again, I'm always very pleased with the amount of participation the city gets in our different fundraising activities and community support projects and youth sports and all of those great things that we all do to keep this city being a great place to live. So thank you.
Thanks, Mike. Tim?
I guess I'll start talking about solutions. So what we had done was we had a subcommittee, I guess for lack of a better word, from Solutions that had met with some of the liquor license holders. We met with Freedom Liquors, Ralph's Bar, and Woodward's. And part of the idea behind it was to, try to recover the relationship that had maybe soured a little bit over the time since we had this proposal for the habitual intoxicated ordinance, and just trying to kind of reach out to them and and see what we could figure out together to do about really the alcohol consumption issues that we have in the city. And they had some really good things to say. They gave us some very good feedback in terms of what the city could be doing better, what they need from the city. That's been passed along to Tony, to the chief. Was very good opportunity to get some very just real talk from them, I guess, if for lack of a better word for it. So it was a good discussion. They had some ideas, which I really appreciated. I was impressed that they have taken, some of them have taken to heart that, you know, if there's someone who you're serving alcohol to that you don't want to, for any reason, as long as you're, you know, well, as we've discussed with some of the shoplifting, you can trespass somebody as long as it's not for any of the protected reasons. And they've done that with some people that have been creating issues for them. They were also discussing that, you know, if there's, Woodward's had a really novel idea that I enjoyed hearing about, which was they were saying that she was telling people, if you've been on County 10 in the last week, I'm not going to serve you. Not, you know, visiting the site, but as an arrestee on County 10. I encouraged her to move that to 2 weeks rather than just a week. But anyway, I thought that was a very interesting idea that kind of resembled what we had discussed with the habitual intoxicated individual ordinance. So it was very good to talk to them. They had some good ideas. One of the discussions that we had was about community service hours for these folks, and I know the mayor has been working towards that, has been trying to get that done. I had a discussion with Judge Roberts, the circuit court judge. I think we have some ideas. Hopefully we'll come to the council in the next little while with maybe a proposal that'll work. So we talked about that, and hopefully it will bear some fruit. Other than that, I had some very good news that I received in an email from Ryan Preston. They made a commitment to us from the Wind River Visitors Council that they were going to increase the amount of money that would be going towards the FAST committee. And they said based on the increase in the lodging tax collection increases, they will keep to that. So they said they are going to increase how much they had committed to us, twice as much. So that was good to hear. But that's all I have, Your Honor.
Thank you. Tony?
Thank you, Your Honor. Luckily, everybody kind of covered all the items that I was going to talk about in mine, so I won't belabor the point other than to say, remember Fall Festival coming up. We have some more events going on as we go into the fall season. We do have an airport board this Friday at 8 a.m. at City Hall. Just as a reminder to the general public, we're talking about a name change tonight. These are open meetings. We advertise them like we do. We're happy to answer any questions if people have those. We do put them on our site for the meeting times. So we encourage people to go to our site and have that available. So that is going to be Friday, 8 a.m. at City Hall. And the only other item, Council, is that generally speaking, we have the last Tuesday of the month off, but we did not have a work session. The second, we had planned on a presentation by Riverton Medical District for this coming one, and that is still planned. The current time is 7 p.m. unless you want it at a different time. Your pleasure. We have spoken with Riverton Medical District, and they do intend to present. They're open to any time in the evening, though. That is all, Your Honor.
Kyle?
I understand that the COVID funds slipped through our fingers because we couldn't complete a hospital by the end of the year. I don't know how that's impossible, but do we have any source of funds for that type of seed money?
Your Honor, if I may?
Please.
There is some discussion about the potential for other possible funding mechanisms through the state. I'm assuming, Councilman, you mean for Riverton Medical District on the new hospital. There is the possibility of that, but that is still in development at this point. Through the COVID monies that we did receive, you are correct, we did not receive, that one was flat denied. In largely citing that it couldn't be completed in the time, and that was what they believed the guidelines required. Our other funding, we actually just received an email on, and we now have to, they're looking at new ways to divvy up those funds with regard to a total allocation to each community that then they could draw against is part of the discussion right now, and that came up through that discussion. So our big challenge that we run into is that with all of these, we keep trying to figure out how to spend money that is just sitting there. And ultimately, unless they extend it, it makes it harder and harder and harder to spend on anything of note. For instance, we suggested buying vehicles like we did tonight. Brian did a very nice job of putting together some ideas that we could have purchased 3 vehicles that were 4, technically, 3 police vehicles and a transport vehicle that would have been more, would have been set up to address COVID cases, potential cases, allow for some separation, allow for greater officer security. Those met, to I guess to our mind, all of the standards. And we thought that if we would have been awarded at that time, we would have been able to just barely get in under that wire. And then we would have been cutting it relatively close, but that one didn't even get anything. The only thing that we received any positive nod on, and we're trying to figure out how to now get those funds, is the money we spend on staff presently, and any sanitation items that we had. So we put in for $300,000, and we're talking, $50,000 of that, and that's not counting the hospital one. So that's been our big challenge, not to talk about it too much, but trying to figure out how to spend those funds is becoming difficult, and the time is running out unless they extend it. But even if they extend it for the year, they are going to have to do something about allowing the money to be used for communities. And they are talking about it. I don't know what that's going to turn into, though.
Kyle, I do know that Senator Bebout has allotted a portion of dollars, I think somewhere around $70 million that is outside of that COVA fund money that he's set aside for state hospitals, and there's still a chance that we could get some of that money. So we're still in the move on that. Anything else?
Mayor, is 7 o'clock appropriate, or do you want an earlier one like you do sometimes?
You want to do it earlier? Anybody want to do it earlier with Rebecca? She's got a golf. When are you teeing off?
I've got an early bedtime these days.
Could we move it to 6? Would that, can you make 6?
Which date?
So next
25th.
Tuesday, this coming Tuesday. We can always text you when we're done. All right, 6 o'clock.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you.
We are all creatures of death.
That's right. Tony and I have worked through the 56 permit, which is the ability to harvest deer in the city limits, and it has been submitted to the Game and Fish. We're waiting further input back from the Game and Fish. I appreciate Tony's efforts to stay with me and to pursue that and to do what they were asked us to do. I also got a phone call Monday from Mrs. Burleson about the carnival that's in town, and she thought it was really irresponsible for us to bring a carnival into town 3 or 4 days before school started. And so I researched that, and Tony was able to get with the chief, and chief knew something about that, but that's not anything that's sanctioned through the city. And so I did get the COVA numbers from the county, and I called her back and gave her those, and she was very appreciative of the efforts that were being made. And I told her that I would mention from the rostrum tonight that I would appreciate it if people would be vigilant as they attended that carnival and wash their hands and use sanitizer and try to distance in every opportunity that they had. I did attend a 1 cent meeting over in Lander on Wednesday. The 1 Cent team showed up, and we had a really good conversation about that, and I appreciate all the effort that's been put in on that committee, and they've worked really hard. The other thing that I think, and I think it's a real opportunity that we're missing to advertise, and that is the National War Memorial in Du Bois. I went up there last Friday and went through. I had already had the opportunity to go through with the mayors previous, but that facility is enormous, and it takes a lot of time to get through it, and the displays are unbelievable, and he has about half of his collection is all that's displayed there. So he's looking to build another building to the north of him, just like that. And Dan is an amazing guy. And anytime you can get a conversation with him, I would encourage you to go do that. And youth groups, any organizations that have time and opportunity to instruct youth would be greatly improved by a trip up to Du Bois.
How much time does it take, Rich?
Oh gosh, I think you could, you know, this museum is world class. It is Smithsonian. You could spend all day in there. And there's about 250 vehicles, from airplanes to landing craft. The story is really well put together. There's a vault that holds every model of rifle that Winchester, wasn't it Winchester? Winchester has made. He has the original musket that fired the first shot in the Revolutionary War in possession there. You could spend 4 hours in there and not see everything. And so I would encourage everybody to go see that. And it truly is Smithsonian in its presentation. So a lot of money has been spent. I believe the figure is somewhere around $100 million. An amazing number for Du Bois, Wyoming. Councilman Bailey?
Mr. Mayor, again, I did have the pleasure of going up there the same day you did, and then I got to go up. They had a breakfast for the Du Bois Boys and Girls Club, and which Du Bois has had a Boys and Girls Club for about 8 years now, and so they're doing very well. And again, we are working on getting one here in Riverton also. So again, it's a neat thing that I forgot to mention in my original statement. But again, along with that, after we were done having breakfast for the Boys and Girls Club, about 10 or 12 of us got to have a personal tour from Mr. Starks. And that man is just nothing but a walking encyclopedia on war history. I mean, he just stood there for 2 hours just rattling off stuff, not a note, not anything, just walked us through there and did just a quick job of it. And I mean, the facility is just amazing. It is very well put together. I mean, it has got some amazing history to it, original vehicles that he has got the history on which battles they were in and all kinds of neat stuff like that. And again, I had the pleasure of going through some of the Smithsonian museums out in Washington, D.C. when I was on the Petroleum Marketer Organization. And this museum is Smithsonian quality or maybe better. And so I think it's going to be just a huge asset to our county. I think we're going to be bringing people in here as a destination type, facility that people are going to seek out and come to find, because it is just truly nothing short of amazing. So
The courtyard, as you approach, has, I think, 6 or 7 flags flying from all the branches of the armed services, and quotes from different presidents and leaders of the world. And it's just amazing. It brings tears to your eyes to go through there. And so I would recommend that to everybody. On the heels of that, Command Sergeant Major Kevin Griffin's memorial replacement, I want to say a few things about that. I would like to thank the people of Riverton. And I can't thank you enough for the outpouring of your funds and for the warm thoughts and feelings that were expressed in support of the military. And in this age that we're in right now, where we're defunding police departments and criticizing all those that are helpfully trying to protect our nation, you know, I know the story of Kevin, and yet when you stop and think, he was one of very few. I don't know exactly how many command sergeant majors there are. There's very few. Rebecca, do you know?
Couple.
There's very few in service, and the only rank that he could have gone to is the top commander of that. Was all he had left in to move up, and that there's only one of those in the entire service branches. And to be from Riverton, Wyoming, and to represent us that well, and to sacrifice his life for us, and then us not to embrace that would be a real shame. And I'm just really proud of Riverton. I couldn't be prouder of the people. I'm thankful for his family being so kind and generous to let us participate, and I'm thankful for Kevin. And I think lots of times we look for things that make a difference, and I think Kevin did. So I appreciate his service for our behalf. Tony and I had the opportunity to go out to the Eastern Shows Business Council. They're a smart group of people, and they want the same things we do. One council person was gone. Karen wasn't there, but we had a really good conversation on Manita Divide, which is a subject that we've worked really hard at. Tony, myself, and Mayor Smith were Mayor Highsmith were the only people to be invited to that meeting, and I thought for sure it was destined for failure. And to see it to get the recommendation to go forward is amazing. And so it's a big hurdle. There's still a lot of hurdles to get through, but it's amazing that got that far forward. And so I spoke with the governor when he was here Saturday, and he understands our position and where we're at. The Shoshone Council has a resolution opposing that. And so they wanted to have a discussion, and we were glad to have that. And the real fix for the reservation and for Riverton is jobs, and they agreed with us. And so I think that's a real great step forward. We had some other interesting conversations about Cowboy Lane, a water project that Kyle's working hard on to get done, and we're moving forward on that. Government moves slow, and boy, no one knows it better than the Eastern Shoshone Council. I called the Game and Fish for the 56 permit on Thursday. I didn't get an answer. I called again on Friday directly to Jason Hunter. What a perfect name for the chair of the Game and Fish, right? His mother must have known what he was doing. So I did get a call back from him late Friday afternoon. He said he was up in the high country doing a backpacking trip and checking licenses. And I said, you know, most of us refer to that as vacation, but he didn't think that was that funny. I did have an opportunity to have an interview with K2 Television. There's a thing that they're trying to put out for statewide. It's Mondays with mayors, and I appreciated their effort. Councilman Bailey alluded to this fact that it's election day, and we did a few things different down at the election offices. And it was fun to get there this morning at 7 and stand in line and see that work. There's a lot of people, and I would like to thank them. It's nice for Carla to come off the table. There's very few things that you should come off the table for. Baseball's one of them, and elections is number 2. And so I appreciate her doing that. I appreciate all those other people that are willing to put their time out and come out of their comfort zone to help us with with the election process in our county and in our nation, and what a wonderful nation we live in, that we can have free elections and change our leadership. I did get an email this morning that Tim alluded to from Ryan Preston, and he stood before us not very months ago and was pressured pretty hard about raising the funds for our FAST group in marketing. And he stood strong to his words. And when the information came in, motel usage is up higher than they predicted, and so they have additional funding. The difficult part of that is they're not getting as much per room each night. They've had to lower their prices, but still they have a positive upswing in sales. And so the tourists, they had funded in the past the FAST committee to $20,000. They were only going to give us $7,000. They gave us another $7,000 today, and they're looking for more than that. And so we're up to $14,000. And I really appreciate everybody's effort to go to work on that airport. That airport's important to us, and we need to, if we didn't have the airport committee and the FAST group, we would have lost that airport a long time ago. And so it's really important that if we don't hold our airport, we turn into just an agricultural center. And so I just am so pleased with the efforts that people have put out to try to make that work. I appreciate Ryan's work and to quickly notice that they had more funds and to pass those funds along so FAST could use them. Appreciate FAST. You know, they're constantly, those guys meet weekly. This is not a lazy group of folks. If you want to keep up, you better bring your track shoes. And they are looking, and they are trying to, if anybody thinks that we don't have enough information or people trying to get the information out, they are constantly working to better the airport and to make that a major happening. Tonight we were fortunate enough to meet with Jennifer and Lynn. They are going to be the providers for the Job Corps for the next 5 years. That's a real benefit to the city of Riverton, to the city of Riverton overall. There's interns up there that you can ask for to mentor your businesses, and they're looking for all the help that you can come up with. And so I know Jennifer and Lynn are more than willing to listen to our requests. We gave them some projects that we thought would work, and so I think that there's some real opportunities there. I appreciate all of those individuals that have taken time to, Kathy Klein was with Jennifer and Lynn. It's a lot of work, and so I appreciate the opportunity that I'm given to listen to their presentations and to welcome them to Riverton. With that said, those are all the appointments that I was able to have. We don't have an executive, do we?
No, Your Honor.
Unless there's an objection, we stand adjourned at 8:14.